wrong. Let's get it. What are you laughing at, Dustin?
You're an idiot. That's
what's new. We've known him for 30 years.
All right. 30, man. We're not that
even,
old, are we?
Not even man enough to take the hot chip challenge, man.
Well,
speaking of that, Dustin.
I don't have a chip to eat.
I can't wait for you to eat your chip and then apologize to me in the same video.
What if it never gets here?
All right, can we go over what the hot chip challenge and what happened and what transpired to the viewers out there that don't know what we're talking about?
F you, Webb Simpson.
What was the bet?
The bet was Patrick Reed for me versus Webb Simpson for Dustin last week. So going into Sunday,
I was looking golden.
Webb Simpson has a 3-shot lead, but he's only up by 3 DK points. And so Dustin's like, no, it's not DraftKings points. It's only standings because his guy's fucking ahead by 3 strokes. And I said, no, we do this shit for a DraftKings contest. It's DraftKings points. Well, then Webb sucked ass and blew up on the back 9 Sunday. And not only lost the read in the standings, but he lost the read by 1 DK point.
Hey, and what else happened is I lost in one of my double ups by half a point.
So if you had just played Patrick Reed instead, you would have cashed.
I did play Patrick.
That's what I heard.
I played.
So now Dustin gets to eat the hot chip since Chris wouldn't do it, and he also has to pony up on the wager we had for NFL, where the game I said to stack was better than his game.
It was
and Dustin and we all play in a high stakes fantasy football league. We've been playing in this league for at least 10 years. The money's nice, which he still owes me $50 for high points last week because you are the money man. Haven't got paid on that yet. But
you paid your entry fee.
But what's even worse, I don't need to pay an entry fee when I get high points every week. But what's worse is this man, Dustin, got smacked by this guy last week. Or this week. It's still going on. The smacking's still going on. I still have Allen Robinson out there collecting points.
Kick a man while he's down. They're used to me winning all the time, so they got to rub it in my face. So
for sure.
Now, because you're going to eat crow later.
Dustin's not used to these GPP players over here. He's our cash guy. He likes to barely get in the cash, barely get in the money, which honestly is a lot smarter. But
my golf lineups, they've been right on the edge, but I've cashed in most of them the past 2 weeks. So
yeah. And then your NFL was fire, but we're starting to have a little too much fun over here. Let's get serious.
All right. So this week we're at the Bermuda Championship in Southampton, Bermuda.
Is that like the Bermuda Triangle?
Right there. So they might not come back. Maybe that's why no one went there. It's like actually a good golfer. But so it's a par 71, 6,800. It's Bermuda grass. It's going to be kind of on the coast because it's, Bermuda, it's right there. It's a super slow greens. So good putters should prevail. It's a Robert Trenton Jones course. There's a few of them in the States. So if you're in that Alabama, Mississippi area, there's courses all around there. But it's easy scoring. Brandon Todd won last year at -24. It's short. I believe the majority of the par 4s are under 400 yards.
Yeah.
So less than driver, short rough, so it's not penal if you miss the fairway. Short course, easy. And it's a weaker field because Brandon Todd is the highest priced guy. So
talk bad about a guy like that.
As of now, it looks like there is a wave advantage because it looks like 5-mile-an-hour winds Thursday and then 25-mile-an-hour winds Friday. So if you stack the late PM Thursday, early AM Friday wave, if that keeps up, that could be beneficial.
Yeah, I think the wind is going to be there, but at the end of the day, they're going to light this place on fire. The one thing I would say is where was it? Not the U.S. Open. What is it? The only 2 players under par? U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm. And the Memorial. So those tournaments finishing in the top matters because of placement points. This week, you could finish 50th and beat somebody in the top 25 that finishes 25th. So I personally, this week, I want people who hit the ball
Of course, they're all going to hit the ball, right? But the short wedge game, and DraftKings scoring is really where I'm going to attack. And I want somebody who can go low. That's all I care about. Go low, have a good wedge game. All the par fours are short, like Price said. And let's have some fun. This week, though, the field is really weak. But this is where you have the opportunity to be on the little show here with Price. All right. He knows all these little Korn Ferry Tour players, all these European Tour people are coming over to play. So you have the luxury for free of getting Price's insight on all these little Korn Ferry Tour guys. He sits there at his job, and instead of working, he's researching these Korn Ferry guys.
If my boss is watching, he's full of shit. I work very hard when I'm at work.
Very hard on DFS DADS, correct. But with all that said, definitely we have fun here. We like to cut it up, but for a lot more of an analytical approach to it all and reasons why and who exactly we like, our cash course. If you saw our weekend review, our last video that Price and I broke down, we were on fire. NFL and golf was just lighting the it was insane how much money everyone's making. So we also appreciate all the new subs. We've had some new subscribers come join the Slack. So become part of the family. Check us out, dfsdads.com/join. At the very least, follow us on all of the socials, the DFS Dads. We put out free plays for showdowns after every single round. Also for like Monday night, Thursday night football showdown as well. So check us out on all the socials. Well, when you have Zalatoris up there, Price, on number 2, and Todd, you know it's going to be a pretty weak field.
Yes. So I want to just throw this at y'all on the fly. Let's do $9,000 up, 89 to 7,600 and 75 downs with this field. I feel like that's a little bit more appropriate.
Okay.
But I like Brendan Todd at the top personally. I mean, he flew here from the Zozo last week for a reason. So he likes this tournament. He won last year. He's the only person to make the trip from the last 2 weeks who's flown out to this tournament.
Had to pin his belt, man.
There's really only him, Varner, and McCarthy are the only people I really like here. Varner rates out fantastic for me. And the other guys, I really want to focus on putting this week I normally don't. So I'm only going to wait like 10, 11%, but I'll still have it higher than the 3% I normally do. And Todd and McCarthy are 2 of the best putters on the planet.
It's a fact. I'm curious, and if you want our full models, we're starting to add more and more stuff to the site on the paid side of things. But Price, where in the model does Todd rack out to you for you?
11th.
Okay.
He's second in putting, 6th in the short par fours, and 4th in birdies are better gained.
Yeah. I love his stats on par fours, 350 to 400. He's in the top 10 for me. His good drives on my model, he's 4th, which is pretty. He has great drives. He just doesn't hit it 250. But that doesn't matter in this tournament. So I think with the price 11-1, I actually enjoyed that price because I think people were just going to gloss over him and move back down further.
I think they'll move to Zalatoris instead of him because he's the hot new shiny thing that people want to play.
Yeah, we made a lot of money off Zalatoris for
we did the U.S. Open.
U.S. Open. So I love you, Zalatoris. Thank you. But I'm right there with Price with Todd, and then Grillo ranks number 2 in my model, and he's literally first, second, fourth on DraftKings points, just all over the place. So the top 10 in every single stat except for putting. So other than putting, he's in the top 10 on my model. So I think those are the 2 guys above, in that top range that I really like.
So what was that range again, Price?
$9,000 and up.
Okay. So a couple people I like. Doc kind of like Grillo rates out really well for me, minus the putting. I mean, we know his putting is not good. But I mean, everything else he's so good at, right? So I just think at that price point, and the player he can be. It's hard for me to pass up at 10-4. Henrik Stinson, another one that kind of sticks out to me, a little cheaper, 9,300. Pretty good again, but his putting, which I know is the scary part. Grillo pad ranks out really well for me as well. He's sixth in my model. And then
will you actually play Stinson though?
I said I'm looking at him. I didn't say I was going to play him. This is the at first analysis, but he ranks pretty high in my model. So
I'm just saying, bro, he's been bad since he came back.
But look, I mean, okay, but
like,
look at the field though. Like,
it still doesn't matter if you're not playing well. It doesn't matter what field you're in.
well, I mean, you could say the same thing about DJ when he back-to-back 80s and withdrawal, and then he wins. I mean,
Do you want to do Stinson versus McCarthy?
I'm not doing anybody.
I mean, they're right next to each other. I mean,
come on, bro, let's fucking do it. Let's slow down again.
I haven't placed the order yet, so I mean, I can place multiple orders for you, Dustin.
You just pick your player, and I didn't even say I love Stinson.
Hey, you talked about him. You're talking him up. I'm just saying.
I'll go Redmond against McCarthy.
I'll do Varner against Redmond.
Okay.
All right.
We'll figure it out.
Are y'all doing another chip challenge?
And maybe one of the viewers can submit something for us to bet on.
Appropriate, of
course. Yes.
All right. So we got challenge week number 2 challenge here.
Always get out of this stuff.
I would appreciate if
he's
y'all,
a baby and doesn't ever put anything on the line.
As the show's host here, I'm gonna have to say, all people that are watching this, go down in the comments, make a comment. What should Dustin Price have to play for? Dustin lost last week.
I'm already eating this flaming chip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh when they all say, "No matter what, Chris should eat a chip."
It's not like a flaming Cheeto, Dustin. I'm gonna gloss over what you said, Price. So let's go down to the next range.
All right.
Finish my range. Okay, I see how it is.
That's because you were talking about Stinson.
We're talking about Stinson. We got to, yeah. It's like in the debates, they have to cut off.
How much wine have you had tonight? Jesus.
When Stinson wins, y'all are gonna feel stupid.
I have a feeling I'm not gonna feel stupid this week.
All right, let's go back down a little bit, Price. Where are you at?
All right, so 8,900 down to 7,600. I have basically 5 guys who I'm looking at. I'm going to start on the cheaper end of Wesley Bryan, who rates out 4th for me. He destroys less than driver courses. He's great at putting. Scott Stallings is another guy who looks good to me. He rates out top 20. He great in approach. Bryan and him are top 3 in approach in their last 24 rounds for me. Maverick McNeely, just because he's an excellent putter. I believe he finished 35th here last year. And so you have that coupled with his ability to catch fire with the putter. I love Justin Sue as well. So he isn't going to rate out very high. But on a Colliery course, he's finished top 10. And he's one of the young studs who, as an amateur, has played well. And he's just due. And I don't think he'll be that high owned. And then the last guy who he's right there on the cuff for me is Scott Piercy. Because Piercy is another guy who does well on short courses. He's good at scoring. He'll find a way to get you a couple eagles. And he usually doesn't mess up.
So tour winner Aaron Wise is not in your projections here?
Speaking of playing bad.
Yeah. So even though he finished 3rd here last year, no. Norlander maybe, but not Wise.
I mean, the Sanderson Farms, he gained 8 strokes, and that was this month. And then he stuck to the Shriners.
What has he done all year, though?
I don't know. He's a tour winner.
So what has he done in the last 3.5 months?
Miscut. He
got 17th of the Sanderson.
He's made 1 cut. But you know what, Chris? I remember you distinctively saying, you know what, guys, if they miss one cut, it doesn't matter. 2 cuts, doesn't matter. 3 cuts, I'm going to play him. He's missed like 6 out of 7. So locked in.
Go for it.
Now, you know who really scares me in this range is Luke List.
Because he's so bad at putting.
And because the greens are slow, putting is going to be more impactful, in my opinion.
I'm pretty sure he's dead last.
He's bad, man.
He is dead last. Let's not bring that up, though. 8,400. He ranks really good in a lot of areas. His par 4s, 350 to 400 yards, is honestly pushing me away from him. It's he's middle of the pack there. If his par 4s, 350 to 400 was really up there in my model, I would have not worried about the putting because I feel like he would hit it close and would just pray for some putts to go down. But that stat makes me a little worrisome.
What about you, D?
I'm always a fan of the Sepp Straka, this cheap range. I don't know quite what we said the bottom is, but he's kind of down there. That
76 up to 89.
That's my favorite play in this whole range.
And so we just know what he can do, and being so cheap in this type of field, I just feel like there's a lot of upside there. So like him, he ranks good in my model. He's 14th, so a win-win. I like
Sepp. Just stay on Sepp a little bit longer. His par 4s from 350, 400. I keep saying it because that's a huge stat this week. Huge stat. He's number 2 in my model with that stat, and I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and he does everything else. I mean, he's 18th in putting, 8th off the tee. So, just checks a lot of boxes, especially for 7,600.
Yeah, if you look at the last 4 tournaments, he gained 7.5 strokes, 3.5, almost a stroke, and then 2 strokes. So his form is not that bad. He's missed 1 cut, made three of the last 4 cuts. At 7,600 in this field, I feel like that's a bargain. That's really good value.
Ditto. I do like Price, Scott Piercy at the top of this 8,500. I feel like he's a very solid guy for this field. Like I said, checks a lot of the boxes in the model, and at that price point gives you a lot of value where you can go, as one of those top guys if you want to, or stack the 9,000 range, or kind of however you want to do that. Not really a ton else. Knox is kind of interesting to me. Right above Straka, another 7,600 guy. Stallings, but everybody else is kind of just to me. I mean, obviously it's going to be like that. This is a field that they're going to have some glaring weaknesses. I mean, like we said, Luke List, great in a lot of things, dead last in putting. So it's like, how good do you have to be in everything else if you're dead last in putting?
Yeah, I can't wait till we get a little bit lower here this next range, because Price is gonna hopefully show us a couple hidden gems.
To the gym.
But before, one last player to look at. What do y'all think about Pat Perez? Right, he's number 3 on my model in putting, and this course you're gonna have to have a lot of birdies. He ranks 5 on DraftKings points, and 7 on birdies or better. So a couple of key stats there is pretty good for 8K Pat Perez.
And so he missed his last 2 cuts, but he lost 7 strokes putting those 2. So that's not very typical of how he plays.
So that shows you, right? My model, I did a lot more recent rounds. So his putting is very bad on my model because of what Price just said.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, because baseline he's a good putter, and from time to time people are going to struggle no matter what, and he's just going through that right now.
Yeah, but in a field like this, I want guys that are playing well, because they don't I don't care what one of these guys did last year. So I'm kind of seeing their form coming in. That was my take on this with this type of field. But, obviously there's no, super correct. How many rounds is the perfect amount of rounds, right? It is what it is. It's going to vary.
I would say if you're playing a showdown and you see Pat Perez losing all those strokes putting, you're like, that's a good play because he's going to revert to the mean there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also another indication. We know he's a good putter in his career. So what are the chances that he's bad this long? You know what I mean? So kind of looking at it both ways.
All right. What about 7,500 and below? Start with you, Price. First off, start with one hidden gem here. I want to hear one hidden gem. I know you got one in your pocket. I asked him. I texted him before we started DFS Dads. I would text him every Monday on tournaments that I didn't know some of these players. I was like, give me one of those hidden gems.
Rob Oppenheim.
Don't know who that guy is. I have no clue. This is why we pay Price the big bucks. All right, who?
Robert Oppenheim. So if you want to go off the last 5 tournaments he's played in, 15th, 36th, 33rd, miscut, 27th. So good form. He gains a lot of his strokes are gained on approach, which I'm always going to lean that way on people because I'm a firm believer in better approach game, the easier chances you have for making birdies. But love him this week. I really like Tom Lewis. He rates out really high on DK points, approach, birdies are better gained. He could be a sneaky play because I think most people will go to either Sep or Johnny Vegas is a little more well known than him. So people might click him instead because Vegas rates out fairly well for me too.
Yeah, he's another one of those that when he puts it together, you know how good he can be. I mean, early in the year, what do you have? 12th, 32nd, second, and then, a string of miscuts and then 43rd last week. So, but like you said, at that price range for a guy that can finish in the top 10 when he puts it all together.
And then super cheap guy I like would be Rafael Campos. He's not going to grade out all that well. I mean, he's 6,100 for a reason. But he did do well here last year. And it's just more of a gut play than anything with him. But I'm not going to go crazy on this guy because he's 6,100 and in this field. Like I'm going to be realistic. I know Chris's number one play in this range though.
Is it Gim?
Will Gordon at 6,700.
Yes.
I remember Gim. I remember you all on Gim that one tournament. He actually played really well. I forget which one it was.
Yes. So going through, I have Gim, Chris Baker, Josh Teeter, Will Gordon, and Oppenheim and Cameron Percy are kind of guys I'm looking at right now.
No Von Taylor?
No Von Taylor. The only people like Chesson Hadley rates out well for me, but I fucking hate Chesson. He's just awkward.
Yeah, I was kidding. Von Taylor's tough. Recut this year, I believe.
But who's the other dude? Your boy Dustin Seamus Power rates out great for me.
I like Power. He's got a great golf name.
He does.
Same with Bronson. Want to play that guy just because of his name.
I think it's ironic though that your guy and Chris's guy are the same price, so maybe y'all two could have something on this one.
No one cares about the 6K range challenge. So let me talk about a guy. All right, I got a guy. Derrick Ernst. Do you know who this guy is, Price, for Dustin?
Nope.
6,100. He's not even on the tour, but he's in this field. I met this guy in real life. I know his caddy, and he is an amazing ball striker. Amazing. You know what sets him back? He's the worst putter of all time. So just because I like the guy, I'm going to play him in one flyer, GPP, 6,100. but I'm not recommending y'all to play him. But I just want to throw his name out there because you just never know.
Give him a little shout out.
I just got to give the guy a little shout out. I like the guy. He's a great ball striker. He's a journeyman on the tour, Corn Ferry Tour. He's got his chance, and he is an amazing ball striker. So he has a chance at that. But his putting, if he was a good putter, I would 100% play him. But I'm not playing him in anything that of value. I'm playing a couple of minor GPPs for fun, just because I know the guy. I had to give him a little shout out though. We're getting desperate here at the 6,100 range.
It's a tough range, man.
I mean, yeah, because you look. I mean, and the thing is, and you got to really dig in and do your research on these guys if you're taking any of them, because 90% of them have either missed almost every cut down in this range, or they're finished 60th a couple times and then missed the rest of the cuts. I mean, there's really nobody the 6 to 65 range or even a little higher than that have played well at all this year.
Yeah.
So,
well, and don't fall in the misconception of like these guys like are in this field you can't touch, because what's the difference between Will Gordon at 6,700 and Peter Malnati at 9,000?
I mean, all in all, he's played well the last two tournaments, but other than that, he's pretty terrible.
Or Aaron Wise being 8,600 just because he finished third here last year.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people would be like, I can't go stars and scrubs, but they're all scrubs. So
it's all relative, by the way.
Yes. This is a great week to do the cheap little MME that Chris and I started doing, where you just throw like $40 in and make 20 lineups and just get some exposures all across the board. Because anyone who tells you these 6 guys are going to finish top 10 is out of their mind. They're not. Can't predict that in this tournament.
Yeah, and this is I've been saying a lot lately. This is not the Masters, right? Don't be betting your full bankroll on this tournament, because there are just so many players that you just don't know what they're gonna do. We don't see them enough, and there's gonna be some of these 6K guy range, like Derrick Ernst could do it 6,100 and finish the top 10. Like, you can't predict that though. It's very difficult. We're over here having Paul Casey at 7,500. Usually we're like, I can kind of predict what Paul Casey's going to do at 7,500, but
he'll miss a freaking cut.
Yeah, he'll get an 8 on a par 3. I will say that Will Gordon, woof,
he's better than 6,700 in this field for sure.
I mean, I feel like Straka and Will Gordon are just severely underpriced.
Straka should be like 80. He should be where Aaron Wise is, to be honest.
Sure, I would think. That's why I was kind of shocked.
And he's 50-1, his odds.
I mean, there's some low 7K guys that I feel pretty comfortable playing without having that much of an issue.
100%.
So, do you think a good fade would be Max Homa because of his putting, and he has a good long game?
He hasn't played well the last few weeks either.
Yeah.
I don't mind that fade at all.
I think he's a great fade. I mean, he's the last 3 tournaments, he's lost 8 strokes, 6 strokes at the US Open, the BMW Championship 6. He's honestly lost strokes the last 6 tournaments. He hasn't gained a stroke since the 3M when he actually finished third and gained 10 strokes. But he's not playing well. I think Max Homa is somebody that, his Twitter game is legit. He's a great follow. At 7,200, I think people might just pick him because it's a known name.
Yeah, name recognition.
I am kind of surprised you skipped over Christopher Ventura, Chris.
It just makes me mad. I don't play him, and he always does good. I just want to act like he doesn't live. He's not alive.
Because I think 6 of his last 10 tournaments, he's finished top 20.
Yeah. Another good price, too.
So that might be someone to look at as well. But betting-wise, Straka is the only one I've looked at that looks like value right now. Because he should be priced like 35-1 instead of 50.
Yeah. last person before we'll call it. About the Duff Man.
Ugh.
I mean, that's pretty tempting
And
at that price point.
I mean,
kind of.
there's some,
Duffner could top 10 this event, and you would not question it 1 second.
there's some name recognition down here that you're like, wow. And you look at what
Bro, look at Duffner's 350 to 400 par fours.
He's good. He's not better than Rob Oppenheim.
Birdies are better at number 11. DraftKings points 20 is top 20. Tee to green, like he's good. His putting's not bad. Average 35th. At 7,100, that's a good price point. I might have to get some shares of Duffner. In my 20 max, Duffner's going to be in there.
Fair enough.
well, you can do that.
All right. What? One last question, Price.
Okay.
Who is outside the 10K range, less than 10K? Who's your favorite play?
Danny McCarthy.
That's why you bet him.
Lock him in, guys.
We tried.
He is the best putter on tour.
You think he's better than Todd?
Yes.
He's number one in my model.
If you look at, so whenever we talk about using him for showdown, the last time we did, like, what, 3-4 weeks ago, and we were talking about how his iron plays up, everything is clicking except his putting. And I went and looked up, and for the entire season, he's number one on tour in putting in 2019, and I think he also did in 2020. If not, he was top 3. And he's one of the people who played here last year, so he's familiar with the course.
Yeah.
So I'll take that.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
All right. That's it, guys. Make some money. We were just on fire last week in golf. Make that money. Stay tuned for the deep dive, and we're gonna have a couple other YouTube videos on golf before Thursday. At least one more YouTube video, that is. Appreciate you staying all the way. If you haven't, say in the comments that you stayed, and what should Dustin do next after he loses again. Peace.
Price is losing this one.